Alright, welcome back. This is Cult of Elections, and today we're going to be discussing a 2024 election night scenario that has us with Tim Scott for the Republicans and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for the Democrats. Okay, so this is a more interesting one. I've been trying to keep things more equal. We'll start off with, say, blue states. I've been trying to keep things pretty equal in terms of Republicans winning versus Democrats winning, and this is just how I honestly see it. I'm gonna try not to make a huge bias with like who's gonna win on this channel, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm not gonna make this based on what people want to see. I'm gonna make it based on how I think it would be, because if you're gonna go into an election video and want to see a desired result versus how things actually are, like I'm not gonna make this like living in fantasy land or something. So I mean, if it's wrong, you can come up with a reason why it could be wrong. But yeah, so I don't think it's a good idea to go into election scenario videos coming in with a personal bias, and I think you should listen to what they have to say. And if it's like a load of crap, which I'm actually going to get into pretty soon, I can start off with some safe states that I haven't marked in yet, so I can talk about them. Missouri, we could say Virginia, Colorado actually. And I say Colorado would be safe because, well, I actually looked back on the 2020 results and I was pretty shocked. I think it was like 13, 14 points. And wow, okay, that was very unexpected. It went from lean blue to, well, maybe lean / likely to likely / safe. That was quite the jump out of Colorado. And I think that New Mexico would be safe too, because somebody actually commented, and it was a good eye-opener. I somehow had forgotten that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is Hispanic, and I mentioned in a previous election video that Marco Rubio would run up margins in a couple of states: Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Florida. Some of the big Hispanic populations aside from California, because in this it pretty much will never matter. Yeah, but I said he would run up the margin. I failed to realize / remember that she would run up the margin at these. So there's that. We're gonna finish off safe states. Montana. And oddly enough, I think Ohio swings way over to the safe area. Yeah, okay, that may be a ridiculous saying, but hear me out here. Okay, so Ohio has gone about 8 points for Trump. And this is assuming the enthusiasm for Republicans remains in Ohio. And then Tim Scott, we've seen the turnout with African Americans with Obama. I think he would not only switch over some votes, but I think African Americans who didn't vote in 2016 or 2020 would come out and vote for him. I don't think it would be quite the same as Obama's thing, because I mean, if it was, we have the conservative vote and then the African American vote. This would be a landslide for him, but I don't think it would be a landslide for him. So Ohio remains that. But incidentally, I think Iowa could be put into the likely column, because it doesn't necessarily have a big African American population. So I think it would be about the same as 2020. Yes. So other likely states, I think the way Minnesota swing and New Hampshire, I think they'd be about the same as well in terms of likeliness. Perhaps they can move, but that's about the same chance as Iowa moving. And honestly, out of the 4 states I just mentioned, Ohio would be the one most likely to, not stay the same. And I mentioned African-American votes, so, Virginia's been swinging hard blue over the past couple of years. It's been crazy to swing there, but I think Tim Scott would slow it down a little bit. And you can also say that, I could put Georgia into the lean column for Republicans here. And I can say that because, African-American turnout in Georgia didn't matter so much prior to this race, but it actually would. So if you take the 2020 results and then skew African-American percentage, let's say he gets 10% more, which I think he would get more, honestly, than Trump did in 2020. Boom, that's Georgia right there. That is Georgia. So I think it would definitely, in this scenario, out of all of my predictions thus far, I think that I can mostly say would be the most likely flip. North Carolina stays the same too. I can't really see it changing much. And again, African-American turnout. Same thing here. We can move over to Texas. I have previously said I think Texas has at least one more time in it for Republicans. And, if they lose it and they've lost it, they are in some deep trouble for the future. So that is definitely something to look out for. So I can go through. I can put Alaska, the way it's oddly been swinging. It could be safe, but I think it would be more likely as well, since I forgot to mark it before. And I always forget to mark this one too. Maine's 1st district, safe. I can put Maine at large in the likely column too because of Minnesota and New Hampshire. I think they have a lot of similarities between the 3. So there's that. Maine's 2nd district, I feel like this district sort of votes for change in a way. So I think this would be a Cortez district in this scenario. It could be wrong. They seem to want to vote for Republicans or Democrats, and they'll do it too. And I think, minus the Trump hate, Nebraska's 2nd district would go to Tim Scott way, because I think you just subtract Trump hate there. They voted a Republican in for the House of Representatives, so very well could be that. And, okay, so we're going to go through, because, these states will pretty much decide it at this point. So I'll start with the southern ones more so Nevada, Arizona, and Florida. So Nevada, I think, is in the lean Democrat column, but probably more closer to likely, but not quite likely, because I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would bring out the Hispanic vote like we possibly have never seen before in these states. So same thing with Arizona. It moves from the tilt margin to the lean margin for Democrats here. But so Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one of the people who's been painted as a socialist a lot. So I think the one group that is not going to work so well with is Cubans. However, she would be able to get other groups in Florida by, I'd say, pretty good margins. But Florida, I think, moves from lean Republican to tilt Republican in this case. So kind of have sort of a dead heat here. It's already closer than the 2020 election. So I'll start with the one that was most far off for Republicans in 2020, because they're the ones that are going to have to come back. And I would put Michigan in the tilt column. They do have an African-American population around the Detroit area and some other parts of the state. However, I don't see the swing of the state going super Republican, at least in the future. It could change. It's 4 years, but I think this would be the toughest of the three. I thought that in 2020, and it was the toughest for Republicans to win in 2020. However, because of African American vote, I think Wisconsin moves over to the lean column as well. Out of Milwaukee, that alone could change the entire thing. And you could say it's a tilt margin, but I can't really see, because you can also say, like, in terms of head-to-head polls, Democrats that are more centrist outperform Democrats that are more socialist. So it's not to say that, I mean, she couldn't win this state, because honestly, like, I'd say every state here except, well, no, every state I don't have marked as safe, I think is winnable for both candidates. But this is just the way I see it. So I can finally put Pennsylvania also in the tilt Republican column. I think it has been showing some surprisingly Republican voters come out in support. It could be that it's a Trump support, but assuming that stays, because there could be other factors, like voter enthusiasm could be down because it's not Trump. You know, Republicans could not trust the system because they don't trust the 2020 results, which, I mean, that could be a thing too. So we could see a bunch of these states go blue regardless of who the candidates are. But yeah, I think a lot of the reason why people came out to vote was to vote against Trump. So that's kind of the Democrats' problem in the future. This 2020 election should have been more of a total and complete landslide for them. And the closest states, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia, you give those to Trump, which they very easily could have gone his way. It was just a couple 10,000 votes for him in all three combined, pretty much. Then he ties the election, and if you want to see what would happen if he ties the election, I have a video on that, because I'm not going to go over that. But yeah, it was very close. Joe Biden really skated by. So I think going with more far left candidates, at least in 2024. If we're talking 2028, that's a lot of years removed, and I think eventually that's what the country is going to end up like. However, we're talking today. We're talking 4 years from now. It's not going to fundamentally change that much. More centrist Democrats will outperform far left Democrats, especially one that has had a lot of controversy, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and especially one that doesn't really have the experience for Democrats. They seem to value that. Not so much Republicans, but I mean, that might change. Everything could change. But yeah, I already know there's going to be some people in the comments who say blank is going to win in a landslide and it shouldn't be this close. But it's honestly just the way I see it would go down. I think Tim Scott would be a good choice for Republicans. And with that good choice, he only gets 281. I think AOC would be a not so good choice for Democrats, at least in 2024. If she gets more experience under her belt and the country moves farther left, it could be a lot different. So yeah, I went through a lot of topics in this video, a lot more than other election predictions, but yeah, that's just the way I see everything. So there you have it. Tim Scott at 281. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at 257. But like I said before, with tilt states here, it just as easily could go another way. And even lean states. Alright, let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more daily content. I'll catch you next time.